Perry Walker on the West Bank.
There you go. So you
the best bank.
The best bank, as they say.
And he was on a tugboat. He was doing donuts in the Mississippi River. I looked out and I said, "What is happening?" He goes, "That's my friend."
Welcome to the Mark Romig Show, coming to you this week from the Louisiana Restaurant Association Showcase here at the Ernest N. Morial New Orleans Convention Center. This is where businesses from all over our great state gather to show off their products and see what else the industry has to offer. This year is also special because for the first time, the Louisiana Restaurant Association has partnered with Bocuse d'Or Americas and the Pastry World Cup Americas selections to have their event hosted right alongside them. These events bring world-class chefs from all over North and South America, along with their citizens and fans, to our great city, giving us a chance to showcase not only our restaurants, but our spirit. And what better way to start off this show than with the man pushing Louisiana across the country and the world. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, welcome to the show.
It's great to be with you, my friend. I'm still a little hoarse trying to get my voice back.
Every time I speak with you, I think you're talking too much, maybe?
I start about 5 o'clock in the morning, and until noon it's good, and it fades as the day goes on.
Yeah, but there's enough beverage around this show that you can probably soothe the vocal cords a little bit.
It's an incredible show.
Hey, speak to us about your work promoting Louisiana tourism. What a great place to do it here at the showcase, the LRA showcase, but you're on the road constantly. What is it like doing this?
Well, it's great, and I tell you, if I've ever been more proud to be from Louisiana, it's traveling the world and asking people why they send people to our state, food, the music, the culture, but everybody has a story about the way they get treated. We treat strangers like family. You leave with a friend for life, and you just keep coming back for more. So, we brag a lot about the tourism numbers in New Orleans and around the state, but really those numbers belong to every Louisianan for opening their arms and welcoming the world like their family.
Yeah. It starts when you were being raised. I like to go way back, if you would, and talk to us about how Billy Nungesser grew up. Your dad was legendary, that family. And what got you involved and interested in being Louisiana's greatest promoter?
Well, I used to skip school. I'd play like I was sick till the school bus left, and then I felt better to go to work with my dad. And I think that's where I got my work ethics. My first job was putting the lid on shrimp cans. Back then they canned shrimp. And then when I was old enough to drive, I delivered shrimp to Galatoire's, Quarter Two Sisters, all the fine restaurants. And I can remember going down to the docks, and my dad would get a load of shrimp. He'd shake the man's hand and go back and pay him the next day after he sold the seafood. So that work ethics, that trust, I learned at an early age to work hard.
Yeah.
And we went through some rough times in the seafood industry, in the offshore catering industry. But my dad always stayed true to the people that work with him, treated his employees like family, and it just taught me a good work culture, and my mother's heart for giving to others, even when we didn't have a whole lot, I think is where my giving of helping others comes from my mother and her kindness.
How often do you ask what high school you went to?
That's a good question. Everybody wants to know, where did you go to school? What'd you have for lunch?
Because it puts you in a neighborhood, right?
Absolutely. Old Perry Walker on the West Bank.
There you go. So you
the best bank.
The best bank, as they say. As we go through your career, you got involved in wanting to help your home parish. What was y'all moved? You were living in Plaquemines Parish. What made you want to get involved in helping the parish?
Well, I had a riding center for special needs children. Greatest thing me and my wife ever did with my life. We took kids out of a wheelchair, put them on horseback. I watched the little girl, 7 years old. She was paralyzed, told she'd never walk again. I watched her dance at her wedding at Chateau Estates. A young boy with autism used to beat up his mother at a young age. After riding that horse 2 years, he came by my office a few years back. He graduated from college. That horse is a gift from God. And I did that after I sold my business because I volunteered for one of those centers, and they canceled rain because it wasn't covered. And I promised if I could ever afford it, I'd build a covered arena. So when I sold my company, I built that arena while I built my house on the river. But I rode out Katrina to protect those specially trained horses. We rescued 34 people by airboat that lived with me for months, hundreds of animals. Mike Strain's dad and uncle lived with me for 9 months rescuing animals, and I never saw a politician. And I was retired. But they talked me into running for parish president. Then after the oil spill, they were killing birds, hiding them in the marsh, and nobody was saying anything. So I was on CNN. Anybody would listen. What's going on? I met with President Obama 5 times. The only things that changed during the oil spill was when I met with the president. He said, put Billy's jack-up boats to work. We're going to build the berms. The only things BP did outside of what they were doing was when the president demanded it, because they came and met with us. But I just couldn't understand how people couldn't stand up. I made my living in the oil field, but the people BP put in charge were not doing the right thing. So I got angry and ended up running for lieutenant governor. So don't get mad and run for office.
Well, and as lieutenant governor, you've got a lot of responsibilities, but one of the most important one is to represent Louisiana, not only within the state from the standpoint of the important tourism industry, but around the world. And I think specifically of these trade missions that you've taken to make sure that people understand that you are welcomed here in Louisiana. But one of the greatest things I think you've been able to do from a branding standpoint is what you did with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and the Rose Bowl Parade. What was your thought process behind that?
Well, we have great partners. New Orleans and Company, you and Walt, all around the state. We'd have conference calls every week. What are we going to do when we open our doors back up to the world? And somebody says, well, what do we do better than anyone? Well, we throw a parade, Mardi Gras. I said, well, go find a parade we can put a float in. Well, I don't think they really let states. I flew to California and met with the Rose Parade and said, look, I know y'all only letting a certain number of floats in, and everybody's been through COVID. But, man, we went through 2 of the worst hurricanes ever to hit the coast. On top of COVID, we could use a little shot in the arm, no pun intended, if you could let us put a float in. And she said, well, let me ask you something, Lieutenant Governor. If we let you put a float in, are you going to ride on the float? I had to think quick. I said, no, ma'am. We're going to put a first responder, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse that risked their life during COVID to keep us. You see, we're going to put all the good of Louisiana on that float. And I could tell right then we had her. And so the next day they called and said they decided to let Louisiana. We're the first ones, I believe, state to ever have a float. Now, I brag about it so much at the Lieutenant Governor's Conference, Mississippi, Illinois, Kentucky, they all now have put a float in.
They've written your playbook. They've read your playbook. You've written it. They've read it.
But one thing we do, we demand in our contract that we bring a Louisiana musician. We want to lift up our musicians and give them an opportunity. Lauren Daigle, Lainey Wilson. When we put on that float, that was before she was on Yellowstone. Everybody says, you helped to make her. I didn't make her famous. We just put her on that float. But we were able to, our American Idol winners, runner-up, we had Amanda Shaw, John Batiste in the Macy's. So we get to highlight the great talent on top of promoting Louisiana.
Yeah, and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah, we were in that for 3 years. And the last year they had a breakdown. So they zoomed by and didn't give us what we were promised. And they kind of said, tough luck. And I said, well, we can't put up that kind of money and not get a return on investment. So we wouldn't renew the contract. We may go back and look at it another year, but we need to be guaranteed. And one thing you don't see in the Rose Parade, and we got great partners all over the state. We have a satellite truck in the dome, in the den as we're building the float. From 5 in the morning to 10 at night, all of our partners from around the state, we give them interviews. Every morning show would love to see how they build a float.
Yeah.
We just let us talk about New Orleans, let us talk about Louisiana for 3 to 5 minutes. So we get $20-30 million in exposure for less than $1 million investment.
Well, great contract, great contracting, as I say. You have to represent all of the state. So what is that balance? Because to you, and as you should be, Shreveport is just as important as New Orleans. Lake Charles is just as important as Monroe. Alexandria's got to have its love. How do you pull all that together?
So when I got elected, I went to every town and city and village. And I'd stop at City Hall and shake hands. I got 8,000 votes in Plaquemines. I ran against the 2 biggest parishes. And as a matter of fact, I can remember one night at the Eiffel Tower in St. Charles, John Young said, "Billy, you going to run for lieutenant governor?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." He says, "You can't beat me." I said, "What did you say?" He says, "You can't beat me." I said, "John Young, remember tonight, I will beat you." And many nights I wanted to go home and I was tired. I'd go shake hands at McDonald's. But it was those towns and cities, and I told them I would never forget you. You will be just as important, because those are the ones that have no budget, no way to promote them. So we promote Mardi Gras in every town and city. We hired a team to travel the world, the country, to promote sports tourism. Look, New Orleans does a great job, Sports Foundation, Super Bowl, Sugar Bowl. We've had Olympic trials for volleyball in Shreveport, Dizzy Dean World Series in Ruston. Since I've been elected lieutenant governor, we have seen over 100 new hotels go up outside of New Orleans. And that growth continues to grow. So it used to be, oh, New Orleans gets everything. Now the rest of the tourism industry says, thank you, New Orleans, because everybody knows New Orleans. And that's why it's so important to support this city in every opportunity to work together. And we have a great working relationship.
Yeah, the state and the city feed off of each other. I get the same reaction when I travel as well. I'd like to do the official New Orleans questionnaire with you.
Sure.
May we go that way? But before, give one plug for the boot campaign.
Yeah, love the boot. We moved it under my office. Had about 50 groups that year. Last year.
And again, this is the litter campaign.
Yes,
basically.
Cleaning up the state, doing Love the Boot Week. This past year, over 1,500 groups, all 64 parishes, 14 universities, 100 schools. It's become a movement. September 1 on the riverfront here in New Orleans, we will announce Love Your Waterway Month. We're going to clean up the banks of the Mississippi River.
Fantastic.
Every lake and stream over the month. We partner with CCA, Ducks Unlimited, CPRA. We're going to make this an official Clean Up Our Waterway Month to keep this momentum going. And I believe if we keep our foot on the gas, in 5 to 7 years, that $100 million we spend every year cleaning up, we can better spend with our teachers, our education, our law enforcement, our roads. Better spend that $100 million on something else and have a clean state.
And have the cleanest state in the nation.
We can do it.
We can do it. All right, Billy. We're going to do the official New Orleans questionnaire brought to you by Bienville Capital Group, recognized on the Forbes Best in State Wealth Management Teams list for 2026. This is a way for you to tell us your thoughts about some of the great things that happen around here. First off, got to ask you, what is the best poor boy in your mind?
Well, I have to say shrimp poor boy because I love my shrimp, but it's tough when you get a good roast beef. So those are both, I guess it's a tie. But if I got to pick one, I'm going with the shrimp poor boy.
Do you take it dressed?
Yes.
All right. If you have the opportunity to see one New Orleans musical artist, dead or alive, in concert, who would it be and where would you see that person?
Man, I got to see Elton John, who lights up the audience, and I miss him performing live now. But, when I watched John Batista's video before we picked him to be in the that video makes everybody get up and dance. His passion and love.
Yeah.
So I said, that's the guy. He says, well, not many people know him. He's on the Tonight Show or whatever TV show. He says, he's not really well known. I said, look at this guy. His energy, his love and passion. John
Baptiste.
I have not seen him in concert yet, but I want to see him. I tried to make it to Jazz Fest to see him, but I will see him. He just lights up everybody in the audience.
All right. What is your favorite New Orleans smell?
Smell. Wow. I guess coffee and chicory.
Okay.
I love that smell of coffee.
All right. Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest?
I got to go with Mardi Gras.
All right. What is if you had to build a Saints Mount Rushmore, who would be on that Mount Rushmore? Which Saints players or personnel?
I have to say Tom Dempsey, Archie Manning.
You're going way back. I love
it. Bobby Hebert.
Bobby Hebert.
Because Bobby Hebert, that passion he still has for everything Louisiana, not only being a great Saint, but Bobby Hebert when you listen to him on the radio, he just bleeds Louisiana passion. And of course, Drew Brees, a great ambassador for Louisiana wherever he goes. Some oldies mixed with the new.
That's good. Okay, here we go. Gumbo-wise, chicken or seafood gumbo?
Seafood gumbo.
All right. What is your favorite New Orleans movie or TV series?
NCIS New Orleans, I'm going to go with because, I had to sell the legislature how important the movie industry is to tourism. We actually did a study and showed 9% of everyone that comes to Louisiana is heavily influenced by a TV show movie. And I hear more about that. And then the Essence, when they did Girls Trip, that year Essence Festival went through the roof.
It's funny. The zip line they put across Bourbon Street? We still get calls at New Orleans and Company asking, we want to come to Bourbon Street and we want to ride that zip line. I'm like,
somebody's going to put one up one year.
All right, neutral ground or sidewalk side?
Neutral ground.
All right. What's your earliest memory of visiting the French Quarter?
My earliest memory is every year for Mardi Gras, my whole family, aunts, uncles, my mom and aunts would make costumes for Mardi Gras, and we would get out early on Canal Street, and we were all dressed as clowns or whatever in matching, so we didn't get lost. It was about 30 of us, and hang out there all day, and great memories.
All right, here's one. Dead or alive, who is the one person you'd like to take to lunch, and where in New Orleans would you take them?
I guess because what's going on with the space industry and I being involved under the Lieutenant Governor of Space, Elon Musk, and I'd probably take him to Revolutions.
Very nice.
And let him meet Chef Fosse, and we'd have him locked in.
Revolution at the Rosa Nesta.
Yeah, I'd have him locked into coming to Louisiana.
All right. What is your favorite New Orleans song, either sung by a New Orleans artist or a song about New Orleans?
So Down in New Orleans Where the Blues is a famous one I love. And we bought the rights to You Are My Sunshine and had Lauren Daigle re-sing it with a video, and we won international awards for that for tourism.
And that's in your commercial?
Yes.
Oh, it's a beautiful commercial.
But that's the second most recognized song in the world next to Happy Birthday.
Jimmy Davis, right?
Yeah.
All right, what is the one New Orleans food item you can't live without?
Gumbo and king cake.
All right, you get two. That's okay. All right, the last question in this Bienville Capital Group New Orleans questionnaire. In 5 words or less, why do you love New Orleans?
The people, the love, the passion, the giving, and how we help our neighbor in times of need. I tell people there's something in the soil of the crawfish juice that grows so much love and passion for their neighbor and everyone that visits. And if that doesn't make you incredibly proud to be from this state, nothing will.
Thank you so very much. Thanks for giving us some time today. I know how busy you are.
Look, you're my friend. You have that love and passion, and it makes me proud to be your friend.
Thank you, sir. We look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 minutes with Stan Harris. Stan is president and CEO of the Louisiana Restaurant Association. This is his venue this weekend. This is a great show. If you've never experienced it, particularly if you're in the hospitality industry and member of the restaurant community, it's the place to be. Lots of conversations, lots of connections are being made. Lots of food is being eaten, too, I might say. Stan, welcome to the show, and thanks for stopping by for a few minutes.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you at the LRA Showcase. This is our 76th year of putting this together. Fortunately, I haven't been here for all of them.
They get better each and every year.
Yeah, it really does. This is, we support the hospitality community, but that's including restaurants and bars and caterers and event planners and people who do this in the field. So getting that here and bringing it together, we've got technology companies, we have food purveyors, we've got different alcohol purveyors, and all kinds of different people in the supply chain. So it's great to have here.
Yeah, and you have a home here at the Ernest N. Morial New Orleans Convention Center. Speak to the facility and what it does for you.
These are amazing partners for us. Now, obviously, we do this show in hurricane season, and we're always welcomed here to be able to do this. We've never had to cancel the showcase for weather. We've always had some great experiences here. Jim Cook and his team reach out to us every day to find out how they can help us and make it better. Having a partner like that, we do 2 events here. We do our Louisiana Pro Start Invitational here usually in the spring, and then we do this one in the summer, and they're just great people to work with, and they let us hit above our weight class.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Pro Start. I've participated in that program. I've witnessed the enthusiasm and the youthfulness, of course, that comes to bear there. Speak to our viewing audience about what Pro Start does and what it's doing for the future of the industry.
So Pro Start is part of the Jumpstart curriculum under the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, and it's a 2-year curriculum. You can follow a track in culinary or management, and then we do this concept event here, and the winners of that in the culinary and the management go on to nationals, and right now it's being held in Baltimore. Our team that came in second nationally from beautiful Chalmette High School, the Owls, are on the stage at the far end going through it right now. They won the national championship last year in management. They have to create a concept. They have to design the concept. They have to build the menu, how they're going to socially media and engage on all of these things. It's absolutely amazing. We joke there's people that have been in the business 30 years that probably could not compete in that type of competition. But it's great to see them because they're the people that are going to lead our industry in the future.
Yeah, you imagine putting them up there with the Bocuse d'Or chefs that are here. I mean,
I think it would be very interesting. Very interesting.
And you've had some good, great sponsors for that program.
Yeah, we've been very, very lucky. The Todd Graves and his team from Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers have worked with us for a long time. Octavio Mantilla and John Besch from BRG Hospitality, Greg Reggio from Zia and Taste Buds have been part of this, and we have a lot of our suppliers that step up every year and want to make this great. You know, now we've got Tabasco brand, we've got Hilton Hotels came through and they take care of the travel for the kids going to national. And it's great to see because when we show their chef's jacket or their competition shirts, they kind of look like NASCAR with all those logos on them.
That's fantastic. There's a lot that happens at the LRA Showcase. Yesterday, we were here and you had the honors program. Speak to those that we saluted and how important that is to showcase.
Well, we had gotten away a couple of years ago from doing our awards every year. We were trying to find a home for it in our programming. And we felt the best thing to do, today we've got a cocktail competition to wrap it up. So we didn't have anything to wrap Saturday up. So we worked with 3 of our past chairs to come up with a list of people. And we've done these same type of awards before. And this year, to really add a cap to it, we decided to do another Icon Award. 3 years ago, we gave the Icon Award to Pat O'Brien's. You can't have a more iconic place than that. Well, this year was Cafe Du Monde and Jay Roman and his family. And Blaine Kern came in and designed our booth to look like Cafe Du Monde.
Yeah.
So we used their colors, and it's great to have their recognition because when we call them and talk about this, they're like, us? Really? You know, I mean, you're picking us? When I called Gerald Judice from Judice Inn in Lafayette that was going into our Hall of Fame, it took me 2.5 weeks to actually get him on the phone because he didn't believe that I was calling him to recognize him. And they've been selling hamburgers for 79 years.
Yeah, and the great thing about that, Judice Inn, Lafayette, and they still don't serve fries.
Their story is no fries at all.
I thought that was pretty neat. And then Darren Chasson.
Darren Chasson has been a long time person in the spirits and alcoholic beverage business, and now is the president for Ray's Beverage, which acquired Republic National Distributing. He was our associate member of the year. They do stuff for us. They're putting this cocktail competition on. They partner with us on the Serving the Future event that's tied to Pro Start. Really do an amazing job for us. So it's great to recognize somebody who's such a great industry partner. And then, of course, we had another great Hall of Fame pair, Phil Barbary and Bob Kirchhoff, who started Superior Grill up in Shreveport and then did Superior Steakhouse and moved it to Baton Rouge and to Lafayette and to New Orleans. And they're just great guys. And they're very opposite. Phil is the cerebral guy on the business side. Bob is the why can't we try this kind of thing. And I've known them both for a long time. And again, when I call them to let them know that they're going to be receiving this award, they're like, is it me really? I mean, and it shows the humility of it. But when you dig into it, you're seeing people that have worked for them 25 years, 30 years, and people in. If you like our industry, you're doing it because you like what you're doing and where you're doing it. But more than importantly, you like who you're doing it with.
Yeah.
And that makes the big difference.
Yeah, we all know the Superior Grill margaritas very
Absolutely.
well. They're everywhere.
I was at an event in Baton Rouge for the Epicurean Society a couple of weeks ago, and they were selling a party for 20 people with margaritas and chips. And they sold one, and then they sold two, and then the auction sold three, and then four, and then five. And Bob finally told his wife, Cheryl, let's stop right now. That's enough. But it was fun.
And we also had Restaurateurs of the Year.
Yeah, our Restaurateur of the Year is something that we like to think about because we've had people from all over the state. We're a state association. Obviously, we have more representation in the New Orleans market. But we thought long and hard about this, and we recognized the Link Restaurant Group. Donald Link, Steve Strzeżewski, Ryan Pruitt, all of their people, Mike Desimoni, all of their people are really a great partner with the LRA. When we need to get something done, when you need to get a VIP taken care of, when we need to have them come and testify before Congress or the Gulf Council on fisheries matters, they always show up. They're always well prepared. And
they're always there for you.
Yeah, no question about it. They're great people.
Yeah. And finally, we talk about the work that the LRA does. Probably some of the little-known work for an amateur like me would be the work that you do around workman's comp.
Yeah, workers' comp is something that every business has to have, unless the people are a 10% owner, and that's a stretch. But it's required statutorily. We've been in that business since 1982, and the fund is owned by our members who participate in that fund. We market it. We provide claims adjustment for them. And our big thing is we want to get injured workers back to work as quickly as possible, get them paid, and get them back whole again. That's a big part of this. And then the other things that we do is we're the largest provider of food safety training in the state of Louisiana, as well as alcohol training. And those are things that you have to have in order to either own and operate a restaurant or to sell or service beverage alcohol in the state.
Got it. Thank you. And thank you for that work. Now, just a couple of personal questions. I've got to ask you, if you had to build your best po' boy, what would it look like?
My po' boy would probably be a little different. I'm a kind of a shrimp and oyster guy together. I like the peacemaker.
Okay. All right. Fried, totally dressed?
Yes, sir. All the way, just like God intended.
Good.
Lettuce, tomato, pickles, maybe a little mayo, a buttered bun. I think about it regularly.
You know, and this is probably a tough question, because I could ask you your favorite restaurant, but then you would get into big trouble throughout the state of Louisiana.
I have a perfect answer for it, Mark.
All of them?
No, the one I ate in last night.
There you go. Perfect. Future of the restaurant industry, how does it look?
You know, we just had our National Restaurant Association chief economist come speak to our board, and it's not as sobering as it has been in the past. We see good things happening.
Good.
You know, this is a challenging industry in its best days, but the passion that the people have that show up and do this every day, that invest and expand, but they know more than anything this is a people business first. It's product second. It's execution third. That's what makes them successful.
If a young person comes to you right now and says, Stan, I'd like to get into the restaurant business or the industry, what would you tell them?
You said the right thing. I always remind them it's the restaurant business. You have to have some business skills. You got to understand about accounting, social media, how to deal with HR. You got to figure out how to market your business. You got to figure out how to maintain and manage and design your business. But I'd always tell them to work with people. We do programs with 10,000 small businesses from Goldman Sachs. Mm-hmm. We have some great programs at Noki. We have great things going on with the LSU New Orleans. I have to get used to saying that.
That's my alma mater.
I understand. I went to your awards dinner when you were recognized. But I do believe that you have to educate yourself on this. This is not something that you get into. Restaurants, you know, people say, why do restaurants fail? Sometimes they fail because they have a bad concept, or they have bad execution, or they have a bad location. But a lot of them feel they just don't have enough working capital to get in there and stay the course, because I did it for 30 years, and I can tell you straight up, you are going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys.
Yeah, you said stay the course. That's probably the key.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks for leading the way here. Congratulations on this fantastic show this weekend, and look forward to seeing you along the road.
Well, it's every day I get to serve people who I love, and this is the most blessed thing that I've ever done in my life.
Well, you're a great mentor for a lot of people.
And have a lot of fun with it. Thank you,
Stan.
Mark.
With us on the table, brought to you by Blue Runner Foods, we have the one and only Chef Wiley Wilkinson Lewis. How are you, Chef?
How are you? I'm excellent.
I'm great. It's good to see you again.
Great to see you.
Last time we ran into each other was at Delacroix. Now,
Yes.
all right, help me here. Delacroix or Delacroix?
I don't correct anyone. We have the commissioner of Delacroix. He says Delacroix.
Delacroix.
And-
That's a third way I can do it.
I know. So I say however you want to say
Just
it.
come and eat.
Come as you are. No judgment whatsoever.
Well, it's a great restaurant right
Thank
on the
you.
Mississippi River at Spanish Plaza. Again, as I said last time, we saw each other, got to be with each other, was for Sale 250 New Orleans.
It was absolutely incredible.
Tell us about that experience.
Oh my gosh, the ships, I mean, the beauty of it, the history. There was 11 ships total. They docked right on the Mississippi River, right on the water. They did tours of each ship. But for me, what was so cool was the seafood cook-off. We did
that's right. You
the
hosted it.
cook-off.
Yes.
We did the cook-off with 11 culinary specialists, one of each on the ships, and then they got paired with the chef in New Orleans. And so I got paired with this young 20-year-old, amazing, she was just top of the line, professional, knew everything what she was talking about, and she was on the Coast Guard ship, the Eagle.
Wow.
And so we got to cook together, and
What was your dish?
so we did the red snapper collars with the two sauces, which is one is a rui, and then we do a little chili butter right on top, and we added crawfish because, crawfish were in season.
Now, I know this was a fair, juried competition.
Yes.
How did you do?
We got number one.
Oh, there you go. All right.
We won.
And can someone have something similar right now at Delacroix?
Yes, absolutely. We have the red snapper collars on the menu.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, get down to Delacroix.
Come see me.
Delacroix.
Delacroix, however
as soon
you want.
as possible.
Please.
Let's talk about your journey.
Yes.
You grew up in Shreveport.
I did.
Spent a lot of time at Caddo Lake.
Absolutely.
You were influenced by some wonderful grandparents.
Yes.
I will stop talking and let you take it from there.
Sure. I grew up in Shreveport. I had a fairly young, lovely, amazing adventure with food since I was little. My sisters made fun of me. I used to crack an egg with one hand when I was 7 or 8. I don't know how it happened. I just was able to do it.
Crack the egg and
Crack
then...
the egg with one hand and then just toss the shell. So you know how you tap it and
Yeah, usually it takes
two
me.
hands.
Yeah, and then
I
I've got to
don't
be
know
careful
how
to get the shell in there. And
Exactly.
Really?
I don't know how that happened, but
DNA, perhaps.
I guess so. My grandfather, Carl Wiley Jones, is who I'm named after. He was also a chef. So I was very happy to be, in his as part of
Yeah.
part of my upbringing.
So you kind of grew up in a kitchen.
Absolutely.
Right? Listening and hearing stories. And I also understand you also did a lot of time at the Pecan Island.
Yes. So my grandparents had a houseboat. We were in Little Pecan Island,
that
Little
had to be
Chenier.
Fantastic.
It was the most fun ever. I had a bunch of boy cousins, and then my two sisters and I. We always had fun. And the houseboat was called the Bismarck. And so we have a dish on the menu at Delacroix, and it's called the Baked Bismarck, and it's essentially a baked Alaska. So
Yeah.
I call it the Bismarck.
Well, it's interesting. You said it's like a fish camp.
Yes.
The feeling you get when you walk into your restaurant at Delacroix, is of a fish camp.
Absolutely.
Surrounded by memorabilia. Give us the inspiration, if you would, behind
Yes.
that.
There's incredible taxidermy. We are very proud Louisiana people to be having these ducks, the fish, the wildlife. It's just one of the most special places in the earth to me, South
Yeah.
Louisiana. So my dad was also an offshore boat captain. So I grew up south of Lake Charles and Grand Chenier. So we had Little Pecan Island and Little Chenier and then Grand Chenier.
Yeah.
So both sides of my family always grew up doing things South Louisiana.
Yeah, well, you certainly get that feeling as you're dining. And I know John Besh and Octavio Montilla, they've taken a lot of time to ensure that you feel like you're in an area that has so much love and so much tradition and so
Yes.
much history, which is fantastic.
I mean, the photos on the wall, everyone is
Yeah.
someone. So there's Chef Besh's son, Jack, and he was, 7 years old with ducks in his hand and camo. We also have Octavio on the duck hunting trip at once. He's dressed in all camo, and it's really funny to see him dressed up like that.
That's great. All right, so
Yes.
your journey continues. You come through school. You join, I think Restaurant Born was your first
First restaurant with Chef Besh.
Chef
Yes.
Besh at Restaurant Born.
Yes. So I started in the industry. I talked my way into my first job at Ralph's on the Park because I didn't have kitchen experience. I worked at restaurants, but not kitchens. So talked to the sous chef. He said, let's get you in. Let's see how you do. So I started at Ralph's on the Park.
I mean, you're like an assistant sous chef, or?
No, just garde. I walked in. I was a prep cook helping plate food because when you're on garde, you're not really cooking anything.
Yeah.
You're just plating.
You're that next important step on the way from the kitchen to the table.
Absolutely. So got started there, and then it led me to Bourne with Brian Landry. And I love Brian. I saw him the other day.
Yes, he's around here somewhere.
He's around.
Yeah.
I started at Bourne, wanted to really get involved with BRG and do pastry because I loved learning pastry. So from Bourne, I went to Chef Kelly Fields at August. So I worked with Chef Kelly at August for about 4 years.
And then you worked with Kelly to open up Willie Jean's.
Yes, so she was doing all the menu development and recipe testing in the August kitchen while I was there.
All right.
So we got to come up with a lot of fun things that are still on the menu at Willie Jean's.
Is there a brownie in your past?
There's a brownie
that continues in your present?
Absolutely. It's my grandfather's brownie. It's almost sort of like a Rocky Road brownie. It's got marshmallows and pecans. Of course, pecans. You can't not have pecans.
Exactly. You can crack those very well too, right?
I can do that. Yes. We used to have a pecan cracker for sure because we had them in the trees down in South Louisiana.
Wow.
And if you break them and you think you have enough shell and you take a bite, it's so bitter, that shell on the outside, and sometimes you actually eat it. But
Really?
I learned how to not eat that part, yes.
Yeah. Now I know where I make my mistake.
Absolutely.
Oh, my Lord. Tell me, you also touched Dominica as well?
Yes, I helped Chef Lisa White. Remember those amazing king cakes that she used to do with the gold leaf and the banana and the praline caramel on top? It was insane. So the gold leaf, she was awesome. So I helped at Dominica for a little while and then went to Shia and got a little management training as well.
Yeah. As I was reading your bio, I also saw that you were a fishmonger at one time.
Yes, sir.
Please describe that to our viewing audience.
It was wild. I love fish, there's nothing wrong with that. Being in South Louisiana all the time,
Right.
It's excellent. But I went to go try and find my way back into the restaurant world.
So you left for a while.
I did. I worked at a little clothing boutique in Metairie, and from there, I went to Inland Foods. So I worked at Inland for a solid year, and I was helping them kind of with the grocery stores, the retail side of things, all in the South Louisiana, from Baton Rouge to New Orleans for the most part. So did that for a little while, but it was crazy.
And what does a fishmonger actually do?
You have to price everything correctly: skin on, skin off, head on, tail off, shrimp, fish, crab meat, you name it.
So you really, that
Seafood.
gave you such an appreciation for the species of the product that you're now serving forward.
Absolutely. And we still use Inland, and they just recently are not with us anymore. But I love Inland, and it really gave me the segue back into the kitchen.
Great. So now you're at Delacroix
Yes.
and making great things happen.
Thank you.
Award-winning chef.
Thank you.
As Sail 250 puts you on that international level there.
Absolutely.
With the Coast Guard.
Yes.
But you were there already. So what does the next several years look like for you at Delacroix?
We are just keeping the momentum, and we're excited to kind of grow this business. We are still in our first year, and we've gotten so much amazing feedback from so many people.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be a part of it all, and I just want us to keep growing and, see how far we can go.
Yeah, and what would you tell someone right now coming right out of culinary training, or somebody who wants to get into the hospitality industry? What would be the advice you'd give that young woman or young man right now?
Sure. I think the most important thing is to focus on yourself and see what your superpowers are, and see what you really thrive at, and then what you don't thrive at, and then see how you can kind of develop yourself a little more to keep pushing yourself and being a little more uncomfortable every day, so that each day you're growing and learning more.
Keep challenging yourself.
Keep challenging yourself.
Don't settle for mediocrity.
That's it.
Love
Keep
it.
going.
I know you're a Saints fan.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
If you had to build your own Saints Mount Rushmore,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
who would be on that
Well,
mountain?
100% Drew Brees.
All right. Who's going to the Hall of Fame soon?
He got the knock. I'm so
Yes.
proud of the knock with
Yes.
him. I noticed that. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
He's amazing. Deuce McAllister. I mean, Deuce. And then this is not on the team, but it's my friend Leroy Mitchell, the Whistle Monster. He would be up there as well.
Yes.
Most certainly.
Oh, he's a great man.
He's on my team for sure.
So much enthusiasm. He was in the play this last summer called Our City of Saints.
Excellent.
A musical. And
yes, I remember that.
I think they're reprising it early next year as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see, but he told me about it.
What's the one food item in New Orleans you can't live without?
It's got to be shrimp. I love shrimp.
All right.
I eat shrimp almost every day. I'm, big U10 kind of gal. I love a delicious, amazing shrimp, no matter how you prepare it.
Yeah.
Baked, sautéed, fried. Big fan.
It's like Bubba Gump.
Bubba Gump, absolutely. Yes.
Fried shrimp, boiled shrimp.
Exactly.
Gumbo. Well, you're doing such great work, and
Thank you so
you
much,
inspire
Mark.
as well. You inspire so many people by
Thank
your
you.
history, but what you've been able to do over the last several years. But what's happening on the Mississippi River at Spanish Plaza at Delacroix is unbelievably fantastic.
I'm just so glad that everyone's gotten such an amazing response and really taken us in.
Yeah.
It's incredible. That little area over there is now booming. So
Yeah. Remind me, what was the volume of business the weekend of Sale 250?
we 100 people an hour, which was insane. So 1,000 people in one day. We have 10 hours of service. We're open from 11 to 9, so 10 hours all day. And we had a line out the door at 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's amazing. And what's great is that you can sit outside. You've
Yes.
got seating on the outside as well as on the inside.
Absolutely.
So if you want to have a nice vista of the beautiful ships going up and down the river, it's the place to be.
They're magical. I don't know where they're going or where they're coming from, but I love watching them. And it's just a part of history in New Orleans.
I've seen people sit out there and they're just waving at the captain
Yes.
or the crew,
Yes.
and they're probably waving back, which
Yes.
is nice too.
Yes.
The friendliness of our area.
And sometimes we get a little tug,
Yeah, a
Sometimes
little
they'll give us a
toot-toot.
shout out.
That's right.
There was another guy that a friend of ours was, one of our servers is friends with one of the tugboat captains.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on a tugboat. He was doing donuts in the Mississippi River. I looked out and I said, "What is happening?" He goes, "That's my friend." And I was
That's his salute.
Exactly
His
right.
salute. That's
he was
wonderful.
texting him saying, "Do more donuts." I was cracking up.
Well, best wishes.
Thank you,
and,
Mark.
we'll have you back later this fall.
Excellent.
You can report back on the great things happening.
Well, I think
give your
you're
team our
doing-
best.
Absolutely.
And have a great rest of the show, too. Felton Jones III, he is the chief brewmaster, roastmaster.
Chief Roastmaster. Yeah.
Not the brewmaster.
No, that's the
Roasting,
other guys.
brewing. You could see you could tell me I'm the
Hey,
I'm the
listen,
amateur. Of
it
this.
all works. Don't
But
worry.
chief roastmaster, but as importantly, the brand ambassador for PJ's Coffee.
Yes.
Part of Ballad Brands, and we spoke with you last year this time
Yeah.
while we were at the LRA showcase, while we were kind of testing the concept. And
Mm-hmm.
you have such a fascinating background, and I'm so glad you were able to come join us again today.
Yeah, thanks for having
and be
me.
part of it. So much I want to talk to you about. One is where the coffee industry is right now, but give us a sort of a state of the industry for PJs.
Yeah, so it's a state of the industry for PJs specifically. I guess when you speak about the success of the cafes, we're still growing. We're at about 200 locations roughly. There's over 300 licenses that are signed and awaiting to convert over into stores. So we got tremendous growth potential, with that. Obviously, as a franchise, the economy can play a role in there. So, folks may kind of settle in on their existing locations until they feel, I guess, a little bit more secure or bold enough to move forward, with the second or the third store build out.
Right.
So, but the commitment is there, and we appreciate them believing in the brand and taking that on. So that's it for PJs, but the coffee industry as a whole, while we were all paying attention to tariffs, there was just some record levels being reached with the commodities market specific to coffee. Coffee saw new levels that I had not seen in my 31-year career.
Wow.
And there were a number of factors. Weather obviously plays a factor in there, but other things, strikes in Colombia, it's any and everything that could happen. We had the perfect storm of it to happen during a time that we were also dealing with tariffs on coffee. So obviously the tariffs were lifted, which is tremendous. The market has come back into play a little bit, and it's been a little bit more giving.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been challenging.
When you speak about the licensing process, y'all are known for your excellence and consistency and service and just what a consumer experiences. How do you ensure that happens on a regular basis when you're not directly managing the store?
It's not easy, Mark. I'll tell you. It's one thing is that when it's a franchise, you have someone that has a vested interest in it, and so it really becomes on them to try to ensure that, and in terms of making certain that they have good baristas who really believe in the concept. I think the toughest challenge, and it's one that I love that we do take on, and we do see the success of it, is that injection of New Orleans. So we got these cafes all over the place, but we're PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. So we're doing our thing to try to bring a taste of New Orleans wherever PJ's is. So whether that be beignets, cafe au lait, you walk in, we have a partnership with a music provider that has a really nice mix of music, but they inject that New Orleans jazz or that New Orleans brass band kind of thing in, and so I think a little bit of it happens organically.
Yeah, it's the intimacy of when you belly up to a bar, for instance. You belly up to a barista,
right?
And you begin having this conversation, and I find that is pretty consistent across the board at a PJ's.
Coffee. I'm really, being the brand ambassador, sort of the face of the brand. When I walk in, I'm usually recognized, and
you can't mystery shop, right?
I cannot.
Felton's here, people.
But they don't tense up, they get excited, and
you got the smile. You're going to disarm anybody.
I mean, they got questions, and I'm there for it. I want it, and so if they're hungry, I feed them the knowledge, feed them the information. They take pride in understanding it, and then it's like, I don't know. I'm just a simple guy, but if they see me in a certain way, then you know what? If it resonates with them because they got it from the roast master, then.
So what's a typical day in a roast master's life?
In my day, every day starts off even before I leave home. I'm taking a peek at the commodities market, order trade. I want to see what today is going to be like, in terms of the coffee market. And then from there, you get in, first, obviously, a cup of coffee. But yeah, it's, we do the roasting and the manufacturing there. So it's really, for me, it's, I go as my team goes, and not the other way around. Those are the guys that are doing, the legwork. And without that successful team, I would not have my success. So my goal is to go there and support them, make certain that they have what they need. I'm there with them, and if they have questions, problems, or anything, it's I'm rolling up my sleeves, and so I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with them. From there, it's just fielding phone calls, receiving offers from coffee importers and that sort of thing. Maybe evaluating samples and of coffees that we have received samples of to make determinations, that sort of stuff.
Are things changing? Are beans changing? Are there new beans coming to bear? Or?
It's interesting. That's a very interesting question. I don't know if you realize how significant that question is right now for me, because we're seeing some density changes in the coffee beans, and
the actual structure of the bean.
It's something that I saw
something happening in the environment.
Yeah, that's where So when I didn't think it would be anything significant or or anything that would be, I guess, widespread. Maybe it was just this particular bean, from this elevation, this origin. And when I spoke with my importer, and told him, what we were experiencing, I was shocked that he had had other instances from other customers to raise the same question. So not so much a hit on the quality. I mean, the quality is there, and that's what we do. That's part of my job, making certain that the green coffee selection, the raw imported coffee selections that we're making are the right selections. And of course we have to roast it properly and finish the job.
But it's what that bean is producing, how much you're getting out of it?
Yeah. So it's like you're needing, with certain origins, we're finding that we need a lot more beans to get the same amount of, of weight,
That's
if you will.
amazing.
Yeah.
My question was really around how is the industry changing, or are there new processes coming to bear? But I didn't realize that there could be a bean.
Yeah,
change.
and then something I just recently learned about in recent weeks, AI. As it's impacting everything, it's being inserted everywhere. It's kind of I've learned that AI is a little bit of the what we're seeing with the coffee market with these tremendous fluctuations, whether it be up or down. We're seeing numbers move that we have never witnessed before. And what I'm learning is that there's a lot of use of AI where it would have been use of just regular people. And so, obviously computers don't have feelings, they don't have the sensitivity to things. So if a computer, if AI is paying attention to a weather report and that weather report says trouble on the horizon, it's going to react. Whereas a person says, okay, trouble on the horizon, that's a forecast. It may not, we can wait and see. We don't have to act immediately, but it's happening that way.
AI they're taking the emotion out of the decision making and more of the analytical side of it. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
How do you see, as the chief roast master, the use of coffee changing outside of just the typical beverage, or the use of it as a
it would be really, really great if we could see a more concentrated and widespread use of spent grounds. We over the years, the biggest use of spent grounds have been like community gardens.
I was thinking
stuff like that.
Let me throw it in my tomato plants or something.
In all of my career, the largest volume use of spent coffee grounds that I witnessed was a roaster / manufacturer in California. They were collecting the spent grinds and they were selling it to a company that made artificial fireplace logs. So outside of that, I mean, we know how much coffee there is out there, but you don't hear,
the other half.
The other half of it,
What do you do with it?
What do you do with it? I mean, my dad always threw it out on the rose, bush in the backyard, and he swore that.
My dad did it to tomato. His Creole tomatoes. I always got the coffee.
The coffee, yeah. So I would imagine that there's probably some widespread use in that aspect, but not on the commercial level, I guess.
What about the consumer side? Any upgrades coming, or anything the consumer should be looking for?
I think that
packaging or anything like that.
Yeah, so we do have new packaging that we're getting ready to go into. We have our PJ's brand as well as our New Orleans Roast brand. So the newest version of our packaging has already hit our New Orleans Roast brand. It's a really nice bag, presents very well. Most importantly, we have a zipper built in on the bag now. So, it's a way to preserve freshness without.
And you don't have to fight to get it open.
Yeah. So
that's the last thing you want to do in the morning is fight to open your coffee.
Exactly.
Make it as easy as possible.
So we got that going, and I think that with the surgence of energy drinks and all of these alternative beverages and that sort of thing, I think it's creating an opportunity for a resurgence of really good single origin coffees. I think you'll start to see some of that return, and I definitely want to make certain that we're participating in that and leaning in that direction.
Well, you'll certainly bring a lot of science to it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're growing at this rate that people appreciate kind of the environment that you're presenting, that's so good to know.
Yeah.
Just so we get to know a little bit more about you, sir, I'd like to know your favorite po' boy. What does it look like?
Oh, man. Half shrimp, half oyster, dressed with no tomatoes.
Okay.
That's me.
No tomatoes, all right. What's that one New Orleans food item you can't live without?
Patton's hot sausage.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Felder, thank you so much for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
It's good to see you again.
Absolutely.
We can make this an annual thing if you like.
Here.
If not,
I'm here for it.
And maybe next time we'll get Scott Ballard to sit with you.
He'd
right?
love it.
Yeah, he's a great guy too.
Yeah,
He's done great work for the state and the community.
That's a busy guy, man.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much. Continued best wishes with PJ's.
Absolutely.
And thanks for everything that you're doing to carry the flavors of New Orleans around the world.
We appreciate it.
All right,
Absolutely.
buddy.
Thanks.
See you soon.
All right, Mark.
We have Tung Nguyen with us. Tung, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to get started to talking about the Asian Cajun Cowboy product that you have put forward. Now, you've been all over with this, including the Food Network, but I want you to tell the story on how you came to be with this product, and how do you got involved in the in just the food industry?
Gotcha. So I'm one of 13. My family has been in the restaurant industry for a long time. They're the owners of Tan Tan Restaurant in Old Gretna. And I was just working as a waiter and doing busboy duties and working in the kitchen and just got the bug, right? So from there, I was just like, hey, what can I do differently than what my family's already doing?
Well, I've got to ask you first, what high school did you go to?
I went to Archbishop Shaw.
You know that's the question that you always get asked, right? What high school did you go to? Now I place you in a neighborhood.
Yeah. So I'm a West Bank boy through and through.
So you grew up in the business, so to speak,
yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah, grew up in the business and just I knew that I would not be my siblings or my parents because, I'm not the head down, just work and just provide. I want to make a legacy for myself, and I knew one way to do it was through media. So I branched off myself and got into St. Roch Market, was my first restaurant concept.
Now, St. Roch Market, for our viewers, located on St. Claude.
Yep.
In right past the French Quarter.
Right past the French
off
Quarter,
of Elysian
Fields,
Mm-hmm.
right there. And that's where I kind of got my start. It was a big food hall. It had about 9 different vendors in there. I was one of those. And
you must have been one of the first.
Yeah, so in 2016, that's when I had my first concept called T2, kind of a play off of Tantan, T2, the cool, younger, hipper little brother.
What were you serving?
I was serving the classics. I was serving pho, banh mi, spring rolls, and baos. And I kind of made a twist to it, a more approachable twist with the American palate. So once I got in there, I was thinking, what's more American than barbecue? Doing pulled pork, smoked brisket pho, pulled pork banh mi's, pulled chicken banh mi, stuff like that where I am accustomed to as a second generation Vietnamese American going to these barbecue joints and the other cuisines in New Orleans and that I like, and incorporating those flavors into Vietnamese cuisine.
Can I ask a specific question about the sandwich product that you were putting together? Your type of bread.
Type of bread?
Using.
So my sister's going to kill me, but before I did high dough. High dough, West Bank boy, exactly.
Right.
And high dough king cakes too, really grew up on that. And that's kind of I fell in love with high dough and then the consistency with them.
Good.
And that's where I went and provided for the East Bank because I drove to the West Bank, picked up my bread from high dough and brought it over to St. Roch. Yeah.
So St. Roch gave you your start.
It gave me my start and it gave me a platform to kind of showcase my style of food and my family, right? I want to build a legacy and just what do you have to show for 20, 30 years from now? What do you have? And being on other media platforms and Food Network and being at considered Zagat's 30 on the 30 when I first started St. Roch, and now having a CBG product that in stores at Target and now Rouse's. Exclusive right here for you, Mr. Mark. I'm going to be exclusively for 1 year at Rouse's, all 74 stores. So
congratulations.
Appreciate
Fantastic.
it. So nowhere else in
Louisiana. And they've got
Louisiana.
such a great footprint.
Absolutely. So once Rouse's called and say, hey, we want to sign with you and do 1 year so no one else can have it.
Now, would that mean, Tung, that you will be in some of their stores with sampling?
Sampling, yes. I will be in the stores.
Would you let me know what stores you'll be in so I can come sample?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be in the top 20 to 25 stores between the months of August and September. And we're going to be doing that. And we're going to be what's new at Rouse's on that ad page, and also the tailgating stuff. So
fantastic.
I'll be here for those 2 months and just sampling at across the metropolitan Louisiana. But going back to the story.
Yeah, tell us. Okay, St. Roch.
St. Roch, COVID happened, kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with the whole restaurant industry. And
Did you shut down St. Roch?
I shut down. So after St. Roch shut down for COVID, I just got a bug with barbecue. I'm part of a Hogs for a Cause team, and that was just kind of what everyone did during COVID, stay at home and barbecue.
Yeah.
So I saw this company, Cosmos Q, and he was doing some cool stuff on YouTube. Kind of got, I deep dived into it. And I was like, what if I work for him? So I knew a guy in the barbecue industry. I was like, hey, I kind of know him. You want to meet and help me deliver food and stuff? I'm like, cool. So trade shows like this, Cosmos Q's are like, hey, we need culinary guys to like kind of push food. Because they're just like barbecuers. They don't know how to push food like a restaurant guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out there and did a few events with them. The CEO loved me, and I was like, hey, you want to come work full time for us? It's like, okay.
You know, it's interesting because you grew up in the business from the service side, the kitchen side. Now you're taking that to the
consumer
product
packaged
side,
goods side.
So you got a sense of what the consumer's looking for and
Exactly.
how to make them feel.
So once you get to a place where you're older, you have children, it's kind of hard to go out to eat, but you want that restaurant quality food at home. That's what I want to do. So these 4 sauces I have were the sauces that I created at St. Roch.
Yeah, take us through the product.
So the Bangin Bayou sauce, it's kind of like my twist on a
This
yum
is the
yum
first
sauce.
one here?
The first one right there. And it's like for fried food. So I did a sandwich with a banh mi, fried shrimp, banh mi ingredients, squirt that sauce on, top it right off. Really good for it. It's a dip for your crawfish, shrimp, boiled shrimp, cocktail shrimp, stuff like that. This Creole dim sum sauce, dumplings, pot stickers.
So it's a dipping sauce. Dipping sauce.
There's a lot of people with peanut allergies. I did the same recipe as a peanut sauce, removed the peanut butter from it, and did Creole mustard. And it gave that same flavor profile that you wanted in like a nice peanut sauce.
It sits in the back of your throat.
Exactly.
Oh, wonderful.
See, you know.
I know. Listen, you're making me hungry here.
And then the classic, the Nuk Chum that goes with your vermicelli and your rice dishes at your classic Vietnamese restaurant. I just thicken it up, use more cane sugar, so it's more dippable for your egg rolls and drizzling on your rice bowls and pouring into your salads.
You're not soaking it. You're
no,
touching
exactly.
it.
You're just touching it right on and just drizzling.
And this last one, which is a darker.
The darker one, this lemongrass, I call it grandma sauce, what Nuk Chum Ba means. It was actually initially a marinade. So you know those grilled pork dishes that the lemongrass pork for the rice? That was the marinade for that. But Target, they was like, hey, we really don't want to marinate, let's make it a dipping sauce. I removed some ingredients, doctored it up, and became more of a dipping sauce. I consider this my Asian A1 sauce.
Okay. So was there the first of these? Which one came first?
So all of them came out all at the same time.
Same time.
When we had the conversation with Target, there was just like, hey, we want global flavors, we want dippable stuff. That's the movement right now. And I was like, I got a line for you. And it's all the sauces that I did 10 years ago at St. Roch Market. And I was like, let me just put this in a bottle. And it serves me right because I wanted to just serve people and I wanted people to try my food. And what better way to do it than on a bigger platform, serving across America at Target, D2C, doing YouTube, being on Food Network. And,
talk about Food Network.
So
that had
Food
to be an
Network,
experience, huh?
I was with Cosmos Q, and I'm doing content for Cosmos in the background. I'm just like the hands. And, of course, I was like, I want to film myself do something. I'm doing this stuff. So I'm recording myself, and the casting agent saw me I said, hey, would you want to be on a Food Network show? I'm like, sure, why not? And then I kind of put the icing on the cake when I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go do the show. I'm going to have these sauces out. I'm going to let Bobby Flay taste it. Like, Bobby, I was on Bobby's team. It's like, Bobby, try this. So having the affirmation from Bobby Flay on national television, and I did pretty well. No, spoiler alert, I make it to the finals. And having Bobby taste all my flavors and incorporating Asian flavors into barbecue, and kind of like making that movement.
Yeah.
Now, I think fusion flavors, especially in New Orleans, we creolize everything. I'm creolizing Asian sauces and trying to make a disruption in the sauce game.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, where in the on the grocery aisle will you find
We're going to be
these
in the
products?
condiment section. So I made
Condiments.
sure that when I was speaking with Rouse's, I was like, I don't want to be in the Asian section. I want to be in the condiment section because this is truly
You want to near A1 steak sauce, and
A1 steak
Tabasco
sauce and Tabasco and all your favorites that you always had, love, and grew up with. It's just, I feel that this is more of a condiment versus just being Asian. It's not strictly with Asian. I use this for steaks, crawfish boils, hush puppies, and fried shrimp. All this good stuff that we eat in Southeast Louisiana, you can use these
Do
sauces
you know how
on.
hungry you're making me right now?
I appreciate it. But that's the thing, right? When you talk about food, you get hungry, and then food is the language that everyone speaks. And I think having these sauces, this really speaks my language and expresses who I am as a person in the bottom.
All right. I got to ask before we let you go. Saints season starting up. I
Yeah.
know you're a Saints fan.
Who dat, baby?
If you had to build a Saints Mount Rushmore, who would be on that?
Mount Rushmore, Steve Gleason, Drew Brees, Ricky Jackson. Who's the last one? You know what? I got to give it to Alvin Kamara, Mr.
All right.
Loyal. Yeah.
Very good.
There we go.
Well, listen, go Saints. And look, Tung, thank you so very much. Best wishes with the product.
I appreciate it.
This
It
Asian
was my
Cajun
dream
cowboy.
to be on this show with you, Mr. Mark. I mean,
Oh,
I watch
listen.
you at home. I'm in Oklahoma City, and you give me FOMO when I'm watching, scrolling through the social media and
Oh,
stuff.
it's a joy meeting you and wishing you well with the product and all the great things that
Thank
you've
you
got
so
ahead
much.
of you.
Y'all, check it out. Rouse is coming August 1st on Rouse's store shelves. Let's
you got
go.
it. Thanks, Tung.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
We have a treat for you. You're a legend.
Oh, my
You're such a legend. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Tommy Wong here from Trey Yen. I grew up crossing the causeway from the South Shore. There are so many people that live on the North Shore that call you home. There are people on the South Shore that call you home. So good to have you here.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm a big fan of yours, and appreciate all you do for the New Orleans area, tourism, and
Tommy, you get the plaudits today, baby. Great work that you do. Tell the viewing audience how you got into this business.
well, we're kind of indirectly. My father passed away when I was 5, so Mom was widowed with 5 boys in Hong Kong. Maternal grandfather, who lived in Amarillo, Texas, had a restaurant on Route 66 called a Ding Hao. He wrote my mom a letter, saying, "Hey, now you're widowed with 5 boys. You want to come to America?" She said, "That's a good idea."
Wow.
So we did the process. Took about 2.5 years. We did all the work, paperwork, background checks, shots, and all that. Finally, we came and we lived in Amarillo, Texas. No English. I was 8 years old. So that's how we started. And
So you enrolled in school there?
yes, the Forest Hill Elementary on Route 66, Amarillo Boulevard itself.
Wow.
And a couple of years later, he retired, and then he passed away. So we moved back to San Francisco to be with our grandmother.
Right.
And a few years later, one of the relatives was opening his own restaurant, called my mom, said, "Hey, look, I'm opening my own Chinese restaurant. Can you send one of your boys over?" And she said, "Well, I got 2 here. I don't know what to do with. Can you take both?" So that's how we got
And
to
you're
Louisiana.
you're one of the two?
No, it was my second and third brother.
All right.
One worked at his restaurant, the Chinese Inn on Florida in Baton Rouge. And there used to be a old politician hangout called Bob and Jake's on Government Street. They had a one-man Chinese kitchen. So he took over his old job, and the other brother went to work for him. This is 1969. $40 a week, 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day.
Wow.
That was his pay. But he kept $2, sent 38 back to Mom. So that's how we got to Louisiana. And from there, a couple years later, there was an A-frame building in Hammond. Mr. Wong bought it, and the brothers decided to lease it from him and started. It was an old fried
Right.
chicken place. Just turned the lobby in, 20-something seats. That's back then. And I came in for the summer. I was in junior high school. And I worked the whole summer and went back. And then next year they said, "Hey, why don't you just come back and stay with us?" And so that's what we did. He said, the city's getting a little crowded. You don't really want to be there.
Yeah.
So I went to Hammond High School. I was the only Chinese kid in the Hammond High School.
You brought it international.
Yeah, well, the junior high school I went to in San Francisco was 97% Chinese.
Yeah, just the opposite.
Yeah, it was totally different. It was quite a shocking experience
Yeah.
for me. But anyway, so we started, and the brothers really said, it's so much old typical chop suey, chow mein restaurant. Since we're from Hong Kong, we want to get a more authentic taste to it. So as we got along, we transitioned, changed the dishes, and then we discovered all this abundant indigenous ingredients: crawfish, trout, soft shell crab. So we incorporated that into our dishes, and then that's how we got to be known. And I give you a little funny story. We were invited into the Great Chefs of New Orleans, which is an institution for St. Michael's School on Chippewa. And one Sunday, Phil Johnson, Warren LaRuth, and their wives came to the restaurant. They ordered about half the menu. Next week, they came back, ordered the other half of the menu. We said, what's going on? We didn't know we were being interviewed, but our friend, a chef, Chris Caragiorgio, who had the La Provence, and
remember that, yes.
He recommended us, and Phil Johnson said, what, you want a Chinese restaurant out in Hammond to be included amongst all the great chefs, back then? You had Commanders,
Yes.
all the famous restaurants,
Sister Lillian.
Oh, yes. Well, I love Sister Lillian. How can you say no to Sister
Exactly.
Lillian? When she looks at you with those big eyes, you just don't say no.
What a saint.
Oh, yeah. So that's how we got into we were this great chefs in New Orleans and we've been since until the pandemic, and we hadn't started back up, but that's quite a run.
Yeah, so how did you find your location in Mandeville?
Well, it was Doc Magruder, who was a real estate manager for Stan Weber, and she came to eat with us once or twice a week, and she fell in love with my sister-in-law. She kind of adopted her, and she says, look, I got this property, belonged to the church, but they decided to move out closer to the interstate. I want you boys to buy this. I said, was it what? What are we going to do with that? She said, don't worry about it. Just buy the property. I said, okay. So we bought the property, and we sat on it a couple of years, and then we finally decided to look at it, because so many of our customers are coming from Covington, Mandeville area on the weekends, and I say about 80% of the customers were coming from there.
Yeah.
So we said, that's a good idea. Let's move over there. And so we hired an architect from Hong Kong, and he drew up this thing, had his junk boat in the middle and booths and stuff, and we didn't like it, so we paid him, tell him to go back to Hong Kong. And we worked with Sprague and Lamb. Mr. Lamb, he lived in Ponchatoula, but he had a big architectural firm in New Orleans. And he Frank had a stack of books he gave him, Chinese architecture. And he drew up the set of plans in Mandeville, and we liked it. So we went with him, a local architect. We took that set of plans, sent it overseas, had all the decorations built, all custom made, all the railings, the food dogs, everything's hand carved. And then people thought we were crazy, because back in the early 80s or late 70s, all the Chinese restaurants had translated American names, Golden something, Dragon something, whatever. And they'd say, you're going to call it Trey Inn? And you're going to put a 200-seat restaurant in a town of 4,500 people at the time? You're crazy. You guys going to fall flat on your butts, and we all going to laugh at you. So we said,
Not at all.
No, we said we had confidence in ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We
built it, and they came.
We opened in May 1980, and we've been there ever since. And
Tommy, it's a landmark, and people who cross the causeway from the South Shore, that's the first thing they see.
Oh yeah, yes.
And it's the last thing they see when they come back to the South Shore. But it's become such a landmark for the region, and we can't thank you enough for what you've done.
I can't thank the local population, the people who supported us.
Appreciate
especially during the pandemic. Kept us going with our to-go orders, and it's just tremendous. I mean, we're raising grandkids, all our kids. Between the five brothers, we have 15 kids,
What tells me that is that you're keeping the excellence in the generations to come, and people are very appreciative of that, and we thank you very much.
Oh, well, my pleasure.
Tommy, best wishes with Trey
Thank you.
I'll see you.
Good luck with your podcast. I love it. I watch it all the time.
And I'll see you across the lake.
All right,
as
please
we say.
do.
All right, buddy.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you. And now, as usual, let's go to April Dupree to find out what's happening this week in New Orleans.
Thanks so much, Mark. Here's where to eat, drink, and of course, play this week in New Orleans. Satchmo Summerfest returns this weekend at the New Orleans Jazz Museum right at the edge of the French Quarter. So before or after the music, let's show a little love to our friends on Lower Decatur. With ongoing street work in the area, this is especially a good time to give those businesses some much needed love and support. So stop in, sit down, and enjoy those restaurants, bars, and cafes that help keep that part of the quarter moving. Start with Coop's Place for fried chicken and down-home New Orleans cooking, or head to Cane and Table for sweet plantains, crawfish croquettes, and an old Havana feel. Jean Bistro serves Thai food, the Italian Barrel brings Northern Italian cooking to the neighborhood, and Dian Shin is a good stop for Chinese favorites. You can also try Lebanon Grill for Mediterranean dishes, Turtle Bay for daytime and late-night bites, or Central Grocery for the muffalata that made them famous. And yes, Molly's at the Market counts too. A frozen Irish coffee is basically dessert. 7-3 Distilling in Tremé offers tours and tastings that walk you through New Orleans distilling history, the production process, and a lineup of locally made bourbon, gin, rum, vodka, and of course, whiskey. If beer is more your speed, make an afternoon of supporting the city's tap rooms as well. NOLA Brewing has one of the deepest draft lists in town. Carlo Beer Lab brings small batch beers to its Bywater Garden, and Meow Brewery and Tap Room keeps a steady rotation of beers, pop-ups, and community events. You can also explore spots along Chapatulas like Urban South, NOLA Brewing, or Port Orleans, where you can enjoy beer, food, and plenty of room to settle in. Satchmo Summerfest takes place this Saturday and Sunday at the New Orleans Jazz Museum, honoring Louis Armstrong himself with live music from Charmaine Neville, John Boutte, and others, plus food and Satchmo seminars dedicated to his life, legacy, and influence. Also on Saturday, White Linen Night takes over the Warehouse and Arts District for the evening with galleries, museums, live music, food, drinks, and plenty of white linen along June Street and beyond. Stop into spaces like Arthur Roger Gallery, Callan Contemporary, Ferrara Showman Gallery, Limbio Galleries, Martine Chasson Gallery, Octavia Art Gallery, Sella Jones Gallery, and the Ogden Museum of Southern Art. The Contemporary Arts Center will also be open, also with hotel and pop-up activations throughout the district. And if you want to start the weekend with even more live music, Tipitina's Free Friday concert series features New Orleans Suspects and Brass Tyrannosaurus this Friday. That same night, Brian Adams brings his Roll with the Punches tour to the Smoothie King Center with special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. For more information on where to eat, drink, and play this week, visit neworleans.com. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks, April. Now, from the floor of the 2026 Louisiana Restaurant Association Showcase, let's share something positively New Orleans. There are few honors in the culinary world greater than hosting the Bocuse d'Or, the Olympics of international cuisine. For New Orleans, this is about far more than a competition. It is a global affirmation of what we have always known, that this city stands among the world's great culinary capitals. For generations, our chefs have transformed simple ingredients into unforgettable experiences. They have blended French, Spanish, African, Caribbean, Italian, German, Vietnamese, Thai, and other countless influences into a cuisine found nowhere else on earth. Here, food is not simply nourishment, it is culture, history, hospitality, and love served on a plate. This week, the world's finest chefs have come to New Orleans, not only to compete, but to learn from one another and to experience the city that has inspired culinary innovation for more than 3 centuries. The Louisiana Restaurant Association reminds us that behind every extraordinary meal are thousands of talented people. Chefs, restaurateurs, farmers, fishermen, oyster harvesters, servers, hospitality professionals, and culinary students whose passion fuel one of Louisiana's most important industries and one of our strongest economic engines. This remarkable achievement would not have been possible without visionary leadership and extraordinary collaboration. We extend our deepest appreciation to New Orleans and Company, Emil and E.J. Lagasse, the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center, the Louisiana Restaurant Association and Stan Harris, and the many public and private partners whose commitment brought Bocuse d'Or to New Orleans. Together, they have reminded the world that while great food can be found in many places, nowhere combines the culinary excellence, the culture, the music, the hospitality, quite like New Orleans and Louisiana. May this competition inspire the next generation of chefs, strengthen our hospitality industry, and further establish New Orleans as not just America's great food city, but one of the great culinary capitals of the world. Thank you. And that is Positively New Orleans. That's our show for this week. Thanks to our incredible guests and to all of you for watching and listening. And a special thanks to our sponsors, Blue Runner Foods, Bienville Capital Group, New Orleans & Company, our friends at Visit the North Shore, and their podcast, All the Waves. Go check it out. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for all of our new videos. We'll see you next week.